So one last logic thing, one genre of game is where you have lots of positions and they can all do like different things depending on if you click on them or change them or something. So you might have like different modes using a selector, and maybe you have some complex logic that the different modes would do in some chip or whatever, but then you have to have, no matter what this is actually set to, you have to have all of the options, all of the possibilities in every single instance, like on a grid on a board or something like that. If you imagine like a grid and you wanted to be able to build a different building on any of the grid tiles, then all of that logic would have to like exist in that place, which is like obviously a lot of thermo used for, even when it's powered off and never going to be used. So there's a couple of ways of fixing that. One would be to omit the objects with all that logic in at that spot. Another way would be to have instruction and head that reads the instructions, so that all the actual complex logic is in one place. And this works for like particular situations, which will become clear. So this will probably be changed by pressing a button or something while hovering over this area, something like that. But for now, I'm going to ignore all of that stuff. So let's say we have instruction A. Let's give them names actually. Say this is like to instruct a robot to do different things. So we'll have like forward and backward and like rotate left or something. And then you have the rest of your UI to set which one it is, and they're all controlled by a different slot on the selector, so it can only have one of these active at a time. But for testing, I'm going to just wire into the selector the active port that I want. So I plug that into there. Then if I send it 0, then it'll send a signal from A and power this forward tag. If I send a signal that's 1, then it will send a signal from B and power the backward tab and tag, and so on. So the maximum I actually have is 3, because it goes from 0, starts from 0, and then goes 1, 2, 3, like that. So then I'd have a load of these, and each of these would be on like a different mode. So let's set that onto that one, and then another one of those, and then forwards again, and then go left. So this would just have to have the logic to handle changing modes and persisting which mode you've chosen. But then you can have a separate head, I call it, like a head of a VCR or a CD player or whatever, that detects what tag is being powered and uses that as an instruction for the actual robot. So let's just make a little robot. If I tell it to go forward, it will go forward 1 step. If I tell it to go backward, it will go backward 1 step. When I tell it to turn left, it turns left. So I have this kind of way of giving instructions. But then we want to do that based on what we detect in here. So if we detect the forward tag using a trigger zone, and this could all be like wireless gadgets and so on, but it all depends on what you need. So forward, so that'll go into there, and then this is backward, so we'll have that detect the backward tag, and then that's the left one. Like that. So now we can animate this along this is like a timeline in the scene, and then when this playhead goes over a particular thing, it'll do whatever it's instructed to do. So if we just make an actual timeline to animate it, use a precise move. It's going way off, so let's just put it back up there. And then a blank keyframe to just leave it at its normal position, and then blend the two. So now So it's doing those instructions that are just simple tags. So then it doesn't have to have all of this logic in each of those. And in this case, this is very simple logic, but you'll probably not have something as simple as this in your game. So yeah, it goes forward, and then this one is backward, and then this one is, I'll just leave that as like a wait command, and then this one is left. So then when we play time, it goes forwards, backwards, waits, and then forwards, and then looks left. So that can be a very good method of saving a lot of thermo by having like a head that moves around the scene, and then the instructions are in different places on the scene. I'd like to thank Freakers, DeadMC, Whitebeardy, and all of my other supporters that make these tutorials possible. Check out TAPgiles.com to find out how you can support me in helping Dreams creators. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.